This is Brett Strong, and today I will be dealing with Josh Brahm about a subject he put on his blog. The title of the blog post was "Why I Hope Gosling Doesn't Go to Hell." And if you don't know who Gosling is, he was a gentleman who was convicted of illegally killing fetuses. So Josh Brahm put a post up saying, "Why I hope Gosling doesn't go to hell." And in that same article, Josh Brahm says, "I know a lot of people are going to hell." So he says, "I hope Gosling doesn't go to hell. And also, I know a lot of people are going to hell." So Josh Brahm and all Christian believers who believe in hell, here's a legitimate question. Not a joke, a legitimate question. Where is this hell? I mean, come on, Christians. Josh Brahm, if you're going to sit here and say, "Man, I hope Gosling doesn't go to hell," and then you're going to say, "I know a lot of people are going to hell," then where is this hell? Because you say this with such surety. Where is it? I guess half the world missed the memo. I mean, where is this hell, Josh Brahm? For you to speak so confidently and say, I hope Josh Brosnan doesn't go to hell. I know a lot of people are going to go to hell. They're going to burn forever or live in darkness, or however you want to cut it. Josh Brahm, where is this hell? Simple question. Where is it? Because 100 years of modern science, not one inkling of hell. 100 years of modern science. But skip modern science, Josh Brahm. Where is this hell? For you to sit there and say, "I know." I can see if you said, "I believe," "I think," "I wonder." Seems reasonable. I could respect that and go, okay, this guy, he's like, okay, he's not standing on anything firm. He's just saying, "Hey, this is what I believe. This is what I think. This is what I read." Yada, yada. But you know, Josh Brahm, you say, "I know a lot of people are going to hell." And then you say, "I hope Gosling doesn't go to hell." So where is this hell? Simple question. Where is it, Josh Brahm? Where is it? Of LifeReport. Guess what? You can't point to any hell, any everlasting hell. You can't. That, I will say this emphatically, and I would bet anything on it. You cannot show anyone empirically there's hell and look at the burning bodies, man, and you don't want to go there, so accept my way of Christianity, okay? You can't do that, Josh Brahm, because your hell is fake. It's fiction. Because I know you get that hell concept from the Bible, which is, the Bible is basically an ancient comic book. Fictional characters like the Old Testament God, New Testament superhero Jesus. It's fiction. That's why it's got Shrek-like characters, talking donkey, and snakes speaking in perfect Hebrew, outwitting people, Twilight type stuff with, winged, probably winged creatures from heaven coming down, mate with women, having babies with women. Their babies grow up to be giants. People, males wanting to have anal sex with male angels. A woman turn it into a pillar of salt. Guy named Moses battling magicians, both turning tree twigs into snakes. Guy Moses throws up dust. Everyone has boils. The enemy has boils all over him. How about Meshach? 3 guys chilling in a bonfire, a furnace, drinking pina coladas. 2 Kings, you got a chariot of fire, a chariot of horses coming out of thin air, on flames. A tornado taking a guy up into the cosmos with no spacesuit. Then this chariot on fire and a horse on fire is disappearing into thin air. I mean, one could go on and on and on with this kind of absurdity if you're going to say this is real. It's comic book, but once again, I always say there's nothing wrong with believing in fictional stuff. Nothing wrong with believing. Kids believe in. I always say kids believe in Santa Claus, Easter Bunny, Tooth Fairy. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with you, Josh Brahm, believing in the ancient comic book Bible. Nothing wrong with you believing that your fictional character God is real or your superhero Jesus is real. Nothing believing in that. Nothing believing that nothing wrong with that. But when you become dogmatic and saying, "Oh, I know people are going to hell, then I'm going to have to call you on it." Where is this hell, Josh Brahm? Where is it? You're stuck. If you want to talk about hell, just say, "Hey, man, this is what I believe. This is my personal belief. I can't prove it." That's being honest. But don't speak as if, "I know a lot of people are going to hell." I know. That's some certainty. Like, hey, back it up, Josh Brahm. Show the world. Forget show me, show the world. So we can all believe. I believe in hell. If you can show it to me, don't bring some ancient comic book as your defense. This is the modern world, Josh Brahm. This is not ancient times. This is not the Bronze Era, the Iron Era. You shouldn't be bringing comic books into a serious conversation. You can, but it's kind of odd to me. It's kind of odd to me. But let's get back to the post. You say, what? Josh Brahm post says, his blog post, "Why I hope Gosling doesn't go to hell." Once again, because he was convicted of illegally killing fetuses. Killing human beings, Josh would say. He would say Gosling killed human beings. Fetuses to Josh Brahm is human beings. Cool. I'm not going to argue with that. But if you go to Numbers 31, verse 14 to 18. But Moses was furious with the military commanders who had returned from the battle. Then Moses, in verse 17, skipped down and says, "Now kill all the boys and all the women who have slept with a man." 18 verse, "Only the young girls who are virgins may live. You may keep them for yourself." So let me back up again. Verse 17, Moses says to his military people, "Kill all the boys and all the women who have slept with a man." Kill all the boys and all the women. So first of all, Josh Brahm, because Josh Brahm is pro-life, how many kill all the women who have slept with a man? How many abortions occurred? They were stabbed to death. They didn't have bullets, bombs. They had swords, knives, rocks. How many abortions occurred? Kill all the women who slept with a man. Chop them up. Chop these boys and women up that slept with a man. Chop them up. Well, how many, if they slept with men, how many were pregnant? How many abortions? You can imagine how many abortions was caused. Chopping up, butchering women to death. This is fiction, but let's take it as real. Butchering women to death. This is what Moses says to his military. Butcher these women to death. How many were pregnant? Didn't matter. Butcher them. All the women slept with a man. Butcher them to death. Cut them, slice them, dice them like pigs, and do the same to the boys. Now, do you say Moses is going to hell for butchering Freddy Krueger style? Are you saying, how come you wouldn't say, Josh Brahm, how come you wouldn't say that Moses, hope he doesn't go to hell? He killed all those people. He ordered his military, verse 7, "Now kill all the boys and all the women who have slept with a man." How many people did he kill? Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of boys and women slaughtered on the spot. Is he going to hell, Josh Brahm? No, you would say, Josh Brahm, most likely you would say, I would assume you would say, well, no, Moses wouldn't go to hell for killing thousands and thousands and thousands of boys and women. He wouldn't go to hell. And I'm assuming we're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of boys and women who who slept with the men that were slaughtered. Because if you read the rest of the chapter, there were a lot of girls who were virgins who were left over. 32, if you read verse 30, 34, if you read verse 35, 32,000 young girls were left over for plunder. 32,000 young girls. So I'm going to have to assume that if there were 32,000 young girls left over for the men to split up for themselves, which is another subject unto itself, I'm going to assume that we're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands, probably tens of thousands of boys and women who slept with men slaughtered on the spot, butchered to death. Abortions occurred, obviously, if you're talking about tens of thousands of women who slept with men. But once again, so back to the question, Josh Brahm, how come Moses is not in hell and not in danger of hell? If you hope Goslin doesn't go to hell, are you hoping that Moses is not in hell? Once again, you would say, no, Moses is not in hell because he was doing the will of God. He was God's right-hand man. You would say something to that effect. Maybe not exactly, but you would say something up to that effect. That, hey, Moses was either doing the will of God or he's God's right-hand man or yada, yada, yada. But you would say, hey, he's not in hell. Period. So why would you even suggest that Goslin would go to hell? I mean, why? I mean, maybe Goslin could say to you, Josh Brahm, I was just doing the will of God. Killing all these fetuses. Late-term fetuses. It was the will of God. You guys didn't catch it, but God was telling me this. Maybe. You don't. Even if that wasn't the case, Goslin was convicted of illegally killing fetuses, and you say, I hope he doesn't go to hell, but yet you openly accept Moses killing boys and women who slept with men, slaughtered to death like pigs, butchered to death, abortions and everything. You accept that as if it's nothing. Well, that's just the Bible, and you just accept it. A whole lot of murders is pretty. That's pretty morbid, but that's the Bible. That's our God. So but in reality, if somebody does that to fetuses, oh man. Especially if he doesn't repent to the way you think he should repent. Oh man, hey dude, you're gonna go to hell. Yeah, I know the Bible has slaughterings beyond the imagination. I mean, it just bloodbaths everywhere. Yeah, but that's different because it's God and the Bible, and But you. Anyways, this is the funny thing, Josh Brahm. I'm gonna close this up right now. This is the funny thing, Josh Brahm, is that right now there's Amish Christians that would say to you, Josh Brahm, without even killing a fetus, they would say to you, Josh Brahm, Amish would say flat out, Josh Brahm, you're going to hell. Period. The only true Christianity is Amish. And if you ain't Amish, you're toast. So Josh Brahm, I find it interesting that you would sit there and say, hey, this person, I hope they're not in hell, and I know a lot of people in hell. Well, you got Christians saying the same thing to you, Josh Brahm. Forget killing fetuses, forget any of that. They're flat out saying, hey, Josh Brahm, you're going to hell. So Josh Brahm, they would say, hey, just like a lot of people are in hell, are going to hell, they would say, Josh Brahm, you're one of them. Coptic Christians would say the same thing. Many of them would say, hey, Josh Brahm, you said, I know a lot of people are going to hell. They would say to you, Josh Brahm, do you realize that you're part of those, a lot of people you're going to hell too. Many other Christian groups would say the same thing, Josh Brahm, hey, join the crowd. Just like people are going to hell, you're one of them. You're going right along with that group. What about Muslims? Many Muslims would say, hey man, you're going to the Muslim hell. Hey, let's keep going around the world. Jehovah's Witnesses would say, hey, you're going to go to hell. Josh Brahm, you're going to burn up and be incinerated. you see how ridiculous this hell thing is, Josh Brahm, when you really look into it? First of all, I asked you, prove it. You say this hell is real, prove it. Where is it? Second of all, just look at all the bloodbath slaughter in the Bible. And yet you're going to complain about some abortionists doing illegal fetuses, killing illegal fetuses, which the women voluntarily came in. So it wasn't like he was just murdering people wholesale, walking around, kidnapping women and aborting their fetuses. I mean, these women voluntarily came to him. And I know the law stuff and yada yada, but I'm not talking about that. Josh Brahm. You say a lot of people are going to go to hell. Let me ask this other question, Josh Brahm. You say, I know a lot of people are going to hell. Well, I want to ask you another question. How can a rotted corpse burn forever and ever? How can a rotted corpse burn forever and the person feel pain? Being that they're a rotted corpse. So they're not even a person anymore. It's just a rotted corpse. How can a rotted corpse burn forever, or as some would say, because before people it would be like, you're gonna burn in hell, and now some changed it to, no, you're gonna be in forever darkness. Some say, no, you're just gonna be separated from God. It's gonna be the most miserable existence. However you want to cut what hell is, Josh Brahm. However you want to identify your version of hell. How can a rotted corpse feel or understand any of that? Because when we die, this is a fact. This is an empirical fact. When we die, we're a rotted corpse. All of us. No different than a rotted dog, cat, or dog, cat, or rat. We're just a rotted corpse. How can how can a rotted corpse decompose flesh feel any hell after being dead? That's a question for you, Josh Brahm. So are you going to say, well, you're a Christian, God? Once again, you're going to bring in the ancient comic book called the Bible and the fictional character called the Christian God, immaterial God. So you're going to bring in your fictional immaterial God and say, hey, my immaterial God is going to resurrect all these dead corpses, and the ones appointed to hell, he's going to resurrect them and put them in hell. And that's where they're either going to burn to death or be in pure darkness or separated from God. But anyway, they're going to be in such a horrid condition forever and ever and ever. Yeah, God's going to resurrect the dead corpses. So being dead on earth is not enough. He's going to resurrect these dead corpses so they can just be punished forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. As Ray Comfort would say when he's out evangelizing, with a mic in people's face, have you ever stole a cookie? Or does that make you a thief? So if a person stole a cookie, you're going to hell. And you might say, no, see, we were born into sin because of Adam and Eve. Okay. Regardless, Josh Brahm, you believe your God is going to resurrect dead corpses just to punish them forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Death on earth is not enough. Being punished on earth is not enough. So if an unbeliever was tortured to death by some monster, just tortured to death, you're saying, yeah, that unbeliever was tortured to death, but my God is going to resurrect his corpse and torture him to death again and again and again forever and ever and ever. He's going to be in the most miserable state known to mankind. That's what you're saying, Josh Brahm? That an unbeliever can be tortured to death by some monster sex. Some young girl can be sex trafficked, prostitute, beat up, whored out, disrespected, tortured to death. And her reward is not just peace of death. Your God's going to resurrect her and burn her or put her in forever darkness or some wretched state, whatever you want to call it, me, super wretched state forever and ever, ever. So that young girl not only got tortured to death in the most heinous ways, but your God is going to resurrect her up because she's an unbeliever, resurrect her up and put her in the most wretched state known to mankind forever and ever and ever. And you talk about morals, Josh Brahm? Is this God moral? in your sense of being morally right, morally righteous, morally good, that a girl can be, young girl, innocent girl could be kidnapped from the suburbs, taken to a strange place, raped repeatedly, tortured, disrespected, beat down, and slaughtered to death. And since she's an unbeliever, your God's going to resurrect her up, her dead corpse, just to put her in a more wretched state forever and ever and ever. This is what you believe, Josh Brahm. This is the area you believe. It's crazy. You know me, Brett Strong. Hey, like I said, Christians believe in your fictional God, your fictional Jesus. Life is hard. Life is hard. I like seeing fictional movies too. Like I said, Narnia. Great fictional movie. Superman, Batman, The Avengers, X-Men, Incredible Hulk. We all like fictional movies. And I can understand through the hardness of life, Josh Brahm, that you want to latch on to fictional characters of ancient times to make you feel better, give you a little comfort. I understand that, and I respect that. Makes you feel good, makes you feel, safe in this world, makes you feel like you got direction, makes you feel like you got purpose, makes you feel like, hey man, I got direction, man. I'm loved by this immaterial fictional God, superhero character. So I'm loved. I feel holy and righteous. I feel that even when I'm down as a sinner, I got these fictional characters that is gonna lift me up and make me a better person. I understand that. It's like when somebody's gonna fight somebody, you want to channel your inner Bruce Lee. I mean, Bruce Lee's dead. Bruce Lee ain't living in anyone. So to say, I'm going to channel my inner Bruce Lee, it's a fictional statement, but I understand it. And that can give you some might, some power to fight, like, oh man, I got Bruce Lee in me, I'm going to tear you. I get it. I get kids like, oh, Santa Claus, oh, this is so fun, I can't wait, oh man, Easter Bunny, oh, the Tooth Fairy, this is beautiful. It gives them energy, charges them up. These fictional characters charges people up, man, gives them hope, man, helps them overcome obstacles. I get that, Josh Brahm, but I don't get your dogma. I know a lot of people are going to hell. Hope, Gosling's not there. But at the same time, Amish people would tell you, Josh Brahm, you're going to hell. No, you're mistaken, Josh Brahm. You're the one going to hell. Yeah, you might be right about those people going to hell, but you're joining that corpse, that group that's going to hell. Coptic Christians will tell you, Josh Brahm, yeah, you're going to join that group, you're going to hell. Other Christian groups will tell you, Josh Brahm, no, you're actually the one that's going to go to hell with them. So if Gazans there, Josh Brahm, you're going to join them. Muslims would say the same thing. Many of them would say, Josh Brahm, you're going to hell. And if Gazans there, you're there too. So say hi to him in hell. You see how ridiculous, Josh Brahm, when you bring in this hell dogma stuff? You see how ridiculous it gets when you bring in dogma? You see how ridiculous it gets? So cut it out. Cut out all the dogma. Cut out, you're going to go to hell. Cut out, you got to obey my immaterial fictional God. You got to obey my immaterial Jesus. You got, cut all the dogma out. Keep your immaterial Christian God, the fictional God. Keep him in your heart. Keep your superhero Jesus in your heart. Keep it. I want you to. I know it inspires you, helps you get over obstacles because life is hard. No doubt about it. Keep it. Just like a kid, I want kids to keep that Easter Bunny in them and that Tooth Fairy in them and the Santa Claus in them. I want that. Just cut the dogma out. Because as you point that dogma to people, there's many of them pointing right back to you.